Mark, look, I made a mistake. We can finally do bees.
It's Cecil!
It's Cecil!
We're in argument!
Are you sure?
Superhero deconstruction is getting old. While Megamind is amazing and Invincible is good, a 4 out of 5, this trend is 2 decades old. And I think people are wanting superheroes to start acting like superheroes again, which is why people are so excited for the new Superman film. And while I'll always give props to a well-written product, even if it is continuing a tired trend, it's a tired trend for a reason. With that said, Invincible is a show I could give a lot of props to. Invincible himself has many of the same likable qualities that Spider-Man has. However, he is different enough to where he isn't just a giant ripoff of Spider-Man. You also have Adam Eve, Cecil, Damian Blood, Donald, Alan the Alien, and William. And with all that said, the best character in the show is Debbie, Invincible's mom, who has a much bigger appearance in the show than in the comics. And yeah, this isn't a massive retread of the comics. The action is great, and the gore shows the grim reality of a world with superheroes, which is the whole part of superhero deconstruction. Although there are a few parts of the deconstruction that just makes them sound bitter towards the genre and more successful comic book companies.
The whole lot was unstable. That's why the city never built there. It's a miracle nobody was killed.
This show also does a good job with toxic masculinity. The latest example is Conquest's speech, but it's also in my favorite scene in the entire show.
Middle of the night. I have work tomorrow, you have school. Get inside right now.
Make me.
Does that make you feel strong? To know I can't physically make you do something? Is that what you need?
The show also has a lot of good villains, and for some reason people will hear that and think, oh, so you agree with their choices and their actions and you like what they did. No, I think they are well-written antagonists to the story. Examples are Omni-Man, Battle Beast, Machine Head, D.A. Sinclair, the Mauler Twins, and Angstrom Levy. But my favorite villain is Titan. However, there are a few characters that I think are poorly written. For one, the Immortal. In season 1 he was likable, then his billion-year-old ass had sex with a barely legal duplicate in season 2. And then he goes right around calling the same people her age children. He is a hypocrite, and it's all talk when it comes to threatening Invincible. Duplicate is also an asshole. She has sex with her friend Eve's boyfriend, Explode, who I will get to. Then she'll go to argue that she went through just as much as Shrinking Ray and Rex, even though she hid a duplicate version of herself far away from harm to where she can really never die. Then she acts like she's in the right for faking her own death. That's one of the worst things anyone can do. She also said she saved the country from being nuked, when that didn't happen. Oh yeah, Rexplode. Until the last few episodes, he was a cheating, sexist, slobby fuckboy. But then at the start of season 3, he tries to improve himself. But he keeps going back to the old him. And then he goes, oh, that's the old me. And it's annoying every time. Until the last few episodes, Shrinking Ray was boring. She even looks like a background character in and out of suit. And like Black Samson, he's just a fucking boomer. Bulletproof is okay. Debbie's new boyfriend is boring. I'll talk about Robot later. But now I'm going to talk about Oliver Grayson. He's a bloodthirsty and arrogant kid, like Damian Wayne. He even killed the Mauler twins and only got a talking to. This is why I think superheroes, keyword superheroes, guys like Deadpool and Punisher do not count, shouldn't kill. The world already has enough people with power that abuse it. Billionaires, politicians, cops, the world doesn't need any more of them. People with power need limitations. Not killing is a big limitation, with exceptions to Darkseid, Conquest, and Doomsday. Also, if you're from another planet, I don't think you should decide which Earthling should live and die. Oliver is annoying. And people argue, well, it's realistic because he's a kid. But realism in and of itself doesn't equal quality, nor excuse poorly made characters. For example, the worst character in the entire show, Eve's dad. He's a very, very realistic depiction of a toxic, narcissistic dad. Trigon, Firelord Ozai, and Stan Smith. And before they hit seasonal rot, you had Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, and many of the parents in South Park. But Eve's dad is not a well-written character. And the only reason I stalled on this for the most part is because of controversy. But in season 1, I didn't like Amber, but I did like her in season 2. She said while Invincible was keeping asteroids from crashing on Earth and getting his organs busted out from Battle Beast, she felt stupid and unimportant to him. You may be wondering why I brought up some of the stuff in season 3 in the setup, when the title indicates that season 3 was going to get its own focus. He became selfish. He didn't want to help Titan to keep the city he improved on from going back to the shithole it was before. Then these two guys from the future come to him asking for help. He was just like, nah man, I'm on a date. It also had Multipole who thinks Rex killed Kate when that makes no sense. But King Immortal was a really good villain. Then when Powerplex started destroying shit, Invincible turned off the TV that was showing it, and he was like, hey, there are other heroes. I don't even want to hear that from Booster Gold, and sure as hell not Invincible. Eve was also in these last two scenes that I brought up, and guess what? She didn't even help, or even called out Mark for being a selfish dick. Also, my thoughts on Powerplex is this. For him to work, all he needed to see was the tragedy of Omni-Man attacking Invincible that killed a lot of people from a distance at the start of the episode. But when you have him seeing the train scene that proved that Invincible is a victim, and still him thinking that Invincible is the killer and the person who is a villain, you have him blind to reality. You can never make a character that is blind to reality work, even in a comedy. And when those characters do see reality, the only response from the audience is going to be like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. The explanation is trauma, and that is pretty realistic. But a character that is blind to reality, in and of itself, is a poorly written character. Then the Invincible War starts. After Eve gets her leg broken in a fight, Invincible takes her to Cecil to fix her. But then he sits there, while she's in stable condition, and not fighting against the Invincible variants that are killing people. He's the strongest hero on the planet, but he's sitting it out. You know, Eve signed up for this life, and when she gets a broken leg, that's what happens. You go back in a fight. You'll never see this with Green Arrow and Black Canary, or Superman and Lois Lane. I wanted to like this episode because each of the variants were interesting, and Red Explode's death was really well executed. But Invincible ruined it, especially since he only came out to fight Angstrom after he sends all the other variants to another dimension. Why would Angstrom want to work with the other Invincibles? It makes no sense. Then Conquest comes by, and Invincible just thinks, fight. He talked it out with Anissa, but then he just decides to go ahead and fight the obviously stronger Viltrumite. I was able to look past many of the stuff I brought up at the start, because the stories and the most important characters were really well made, especially since the main hero was very well done. But season 3, what the fuck? And now I'm reviewing the season finale. I thought you'd never shut up. Starts with Invincible and Conquest fighting. Like I said, without Mark trying to de-escalate things, and him starting a fight. There's this lame-ass blood-hard bubble scene. It's a prolonged fight that lasts half the episode, only cutting to a very small number of very short scenes. And then Oliver, with complete arrogance, decides to come into the fight, to obviously get his ass beat. And then Invincible does this.
Stop! Listen to me. Just listen.
You already lost that chance, and now tons of people got fucked and even killed because you decided to fight, and then we cut to Eve.
What is that? Oh my god, Mark!
Mark? Wait, that's your boyfriend?
You are the dumbest motherfucker on the goddamn planet, but Oliver isn't far off.
Come on, hurry!
He'll kill you, Oliver. Get out of here.
You can't fight him alone! But look at him, he's old as dirt! We can take him down together!
Hey Oliver, you're the one that's half Viltrumite. You should be the one to know that the older a Viltrumite gets, the stronger they are. Not me, an everyday human, who doesn't like being human. So Cecil goes to Eve to help her unlock her powers to their full potential, but she keeps using these fucking glass squares that just shatter easily. Now for half of the episode, Conquest was just this basic bad guy, who only wants death and destruction cause he's evil. Then in the middle, he gives this amazing speech, one that really dives into toxic masculinity. One of the best parts of the show, except when it comes to Eve's dad. I'm complaining that this character was finally getting more depth than just Big Evil Man, just for him to die not long after. It does not change how his character impacts him at the start, but it will impact his appearances in later episodes. And since Cecil did revive him to try to get information out of him, he will. Oh yeah, and what the fuck, Cecil? Usually he's a very smart character, definitely not dumb enough to keep Conquest's ass alive. Then we go to Red Explode's funeral. Like I said, until the last few episodes, I didn't like his character, but he did not deserve this kind of disrespect at his own funeral.
To honor my friend and everything he meant to me, I am changing my name from Rudy to Rex.
Okay, so Robot, you steal Rex's DNA, then you break the Mauler twins out of jail so they can build you a new body, then think being upfront about it will make it okay. Then he chooses Rex because an adult monster girl thought a teenage Rex was interesting. Then Rex dies in a very heroic way, just for Robot to go at his funeral and say, I'm changing my name from Rudy to Rex. You see why I saved him for last? Then at his friend's funeral, Invincible is smiling because Eve is alive, and when they come home from a funeral, they have sex. This is a 2 out of 5. Conquest had an amazing speech, but before that he was just a basic villain, and when he finally gets interesting, he dies not long after. Invincible starts the fight. He didn't attempt to de-escalate things before it was too late. Cecil's dumbass kept Conquest alive. Oliver is annoying and stupid, Robot is disrespectful at Rex's funeral, and it's just disgusting.